A good afternoon. This is Francisco Otero from Avigilon. We'll start our session in just a little bit. We'll give it 2 minutes after the hour, and then we'll get started. Hey, Rob, can you see my screen okay?
Actually, I'm not seeing it, but let me
hold on.
Make sure I'm looking at the right thing here. There we go. Now I'm seeing it.
Okay, good. All right, folks, noontime, we will start the presentation here in about 2 minutes. Just let's give them a little bit more time for people to come in. You can hear me okay, Rob?
I can. You're coming in loud and clear.
Awesome. Thanks.
No problem.
Yeah, I just hope my computer doesn't lock up again. We'll see.
Hey, real quick, could you email me the presentation? When I try to download it, I'm just getting a web page.
Is in box.
It's in box. Okay, cool.
Under the lunch and
Grab
learn.
it from there.
All right, folks, one more minute, and we'll get started. All right, 12:02 on my clock here. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thanks, everyone, for joining another Lunch and Learn for Avigilon ACM. Topic we are going to cover today is ACM Verified. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a very quick poll just to get a sense for how many people actually know ACM Verified. So if you in maximized screen, just hit escape in your keyboard and you come off of maximize, and then you should be able to see the other screen for the poll on the side. I'll give 45 seconds to a minute in there, and if you could answer, we would appreciate that. That gives a sense of how this feature is known in the market and what we need to do to make it more aware. Wow, 75% of people responding already. That's awesome. Thank you so much. 30 seconds. I'll give another 15 seconds, and then we'll go ahead and move on with it. Thanks so much for being active there and answering this. Help us tremendously to understand how our product's known. So thanks so much. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll, and by the poll results, we have work to do here. We need to inform you guys better about this. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll, and here we go. Let's go to the presentation. All right, so ACM Verify. So what is it? Let's take a look. So here's the agenda. We're going to cover ACM, what ACM Verify is. I got a couple of applications where you can use ACM Verify. So it helps illustrate the application a little bit better. Requirements and configuration. We'll do a live demo using ACM and questions and answers. So questions and answers, by all means, as you have questions, just go ahead and throw the questions there in the question session of this webinar, and one of my teammates will answer as they come in. Okay. Very well. So next slide here. Let's go ahead and take a look in ACM Verify. So what is it? So ACM Verify is a web-enabled, web-based application that creates a virtual station. So you don't need to install anything in your smartphone or mobile device. It's a web-based. You just go to that link, and that link is connected to your ACM system. So if you're in the outside, you obviously need to have access to your ACM a system, and it could be through a VPN, whatever security features you want to implement. But once you're there, then an application like this will come up. So basically, this is a virtual keypad that allow us to move people between areas. So we'll cover that more in details. So the idea is that once you see this application here, you enter a PIN number in this keypad, hit submit, and this will confirm the person, the location for this virtual station, and the time. So we actually logging in ACM when this virtual is when someone enters a PIN code in a virtual station. Usually I get this question, is this so for everyone to have it? No, it's not. This is designed, and you will see that some applications now in the next slides. This is designed to be assigned to key people management or someone that has a particular function that needs to track where people are in any given point. So that's how this application is going to be utilized. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the applications now, so you get a feel for how you can use this application. So here's a typical scenario. Here's a company. You got your office area there. This is a manufacturing facility, and there's some labs and warehouses and things, right? So you have a emergency situation. Everybody goes out, and they usually report to the mustering stations located outside the building. And that's your fire warden right there. So, right? So that's, I usually call that as the poor soul that has to some way, somehow, she still has some piece of paper there. She has to find, she or he has to find out who are assigned to that particular area or who's in the building today or not. And it's a pretty difficult task, right? So sometimes involving printing some reports if the building is not on fire, right? And use that to gather people and to understand. What ACM Verify tries to do is simplify that. Now I can have people that are in a particular area. So let's say, for example, they're here in the office area and the fire alarm goes off. They'll come out of the building, reporting to the mustering station, and this person holding an ACM Verify, she or he can turn the screen to this person arriving in this area. That person types the PIN number, hits submit, the picture of that person is going to come out. So the fire warden here, this person, can look at that, verify, yes, that's you. I'm going to go ahead and confirm. So they can confirm that and move that person from the office area, for example, into the mustering area, okay? So you can track that real time. So if there is fire marshals going around with holding an ACM Verify, they can actually see how many people are in each different area, okay? So this is one of the applications. So ACM Verify is pretty flexible, so you can use for multiple applications. I usually start with a mustering because it's an easier concept to visualize, right? I have people in these areas, and I'm going to move them to a mustering area. So in other words, they're here now in mustering. I can account for that people, right? So I can move them around. Great for first responders, again, for real-time tracking. So if there is a first responder inside the building, and if they have the ACM Verify in their hand, they can actually see in each area how many people is still there. And as this goes on, as people reporting into those mustering areas, right? So it will be one here, one probably over there as well, right? Away from the buildings. They can then be moved from the office, from the lab, from the warehouse into the mustering area. So we can account for people, okay? So that's one of the applications. Here's another one. I can track, for example, meetings. I have, my facility is growing tremendously. Our business being very successful. I'm running out of space in my building. And now when I have to do meetings, my company utilizes the meeting facility that is across the street, right? So one of those Reggie's facilities, my own company used to use that when we were in Dallas. We were growing so fast that we literally ran out of space, and that's the example I use because I saw that. So what ACM Verify can do is allow me to record or track who is in that other area. I have a company event, I have meetings, and I want to track, I want to know who participated in those meetings. I have a cafeteria, I want to know how many employees are getting into the cafeteria, right? So I could have, like what this looks like is I think is a tablet right there. So I could have an inexpensive tablet sitting in there with ACM Verify. Employee comes in, just punch their PIN code and confirms, and now I know that person went into that area or went into that meeting or went to that cafeteria in that particular time. And now I know that, you know, I can track that through my reports and so on. So the information is logged in ACM, so I can track people around that, okay? Here's another application, schools. You can use that as well. So as you can see, I'm showing a whole bunch of different applications for that. And the idea is the teacher can track the students, for example, in a bus, or the schools can track the students in the bus. So a student comes in the morning, again, that is a little tablet sitting there in the bus. Student comes in, punches PIN number, confirms, and now I know the time that the student got in the bus, and then the time the student got in the classroom. So I could have that also in the classroom, or they just badge in the classroom, any type of application. So it really depends on the customer and how they want to use it. Field trips, the teacher wants to track the students with her in this field trip, right? So she can have that ACM Verify where all the students are there. And as they come in and out of the bus, you can move them from the virtual station that is the bus, that sits in the bus, let's call that an area, and then we can move to her as another virtual station. So they can have this tracking where students come in and out of the bus, okay? So there's a multitude of applications. We've seen a lot of people using this for mustering, and based on that, I'm gonna go ahead and launch another quick poll here just to get a feel for how many of you actually use or have requirements for mustering. So you'll see the poll coming in. Once again, if you have your screen maximized, the poll will be behind. Just come off of maximize or hit escape. You should come off of maximize, and from there you can you probably will see the screen there for the poll. We appreciate your guys voting in that. I'll leave another 15-20 seconds, and we'll go from there. But so those are some of the applications that we can utilize ACM Verify. What is nice about this is it is flexible enough for you to configure for different applications, right? So usually what comes to mind is mustering, because it's something simple, easy to visualize. But again, you can use for other applications. We've seen people using this, and this was astonishing to see, you know, how creative people get and utilize. We saw an application where a customer had a remote site, had a remote hangar where they do video productions, movies, and they didn't want, and this was in a remote area, and they literally had just a dirt road to get to this big warehouse, and they had a security guard in a golf cart sitting in there in that dirt road, waiting for people to come in with their cars, and you know, he would point the ACM Verify to the person would punch the PIN number, and he would confirm and see the photo of that person, says, okay, that's you. And when you submit, it tells you if that person is allowed in that area or not. So you're basically using that as a reader without the wires. So you could use that as another application. Okay, thanks so much for the poll. I'm gonna go ahead and close that and keep going here. Next slide. Here's another application as well. Again, the concept of this is tracking people around the facility, tracking people in different areas. So I can place this in a multitude of different things. So imagine a construction site is another one. I want to have, you know, it's a limited number of people, or I will have a certain number of people assigned to that site, to the construction site. They will come in the morning, they'll enter their PIN code in an ACM Verify, facility manager or site manager, and they can validate, yes, you belong here, you assigned to this location, you are, and you came in at this time, so they can track all that information. Okay, so again, very flexible when it comes to that. So let's take a look a couple other things. So requirements, so how you use or what do you need for ACM Verify. So a couple of requirements here, pretty simple. ACM Verify comes in every version of ACM Pro, Enterprise, Enterprise Plus, and VM. There's one station that comes free with ACM. And then if you need more than one station, I have multiple mustering areas, or I have multiple meeting facilities or locations that I want to track, so I can add more virtual stations. And I can do that in bundles of 5 or 16. And it's just one-time license. You add that license, and now you have those different stations, okay? To make sure that everyone understands how this works, I put these illustrations here so we can dig in this a little bit more. So the concept of this is I'm tracking people between areas. So the areas are something that I can create in ACM, and I can have one reader or multiple readers. So let's say, for example, this one here, my office area, I might have 2 or 3 different doors that lead to that area that I call office, and I'm going to tie those readers, those doors, into an area called office. In that area, I can count how many people I have in the area. I can limit access people based in the amount of people already in the area, and I can use that in ACM Verify now here to move people between areas. So here's the example that we just saw in that graph, mustering area, right? So people are in the office, they'll report to the ACM Verify station. That's the person right there in the mustering area. And when they enter their PIN number, then we move them from office area into mustering. And here's a question that I always ask. Well, I don't have in and out readers. How do I do that? We got you covered there. So we don't need necessarily in and out readers, right? So that in and out readers are great because you can say when a person got in that area and out of that area, right? So that's great. I don't necessarily need that. So if I don't have that, what ACM is going to do is tell you the last known area where that person badged in. So if I came in the office in the morning and I badged in, and then I moved from the office, go to the corridor into the lab, in this short period of time here that I'm moving from one area to the other, the system is still show that I'm in the office because I don't have an out reader, right? So if I only have one reader, I logged in, I came in, got in the office, and then with that, until I get moved to a different area, until I badge in a different area, or I enter my PIN in ACM Verify, I still in that area until then, and then I got moved to those different areas, okay? So I just want to make sure that I put this in here just to kind of illustrate the point, make sure people understand. Again, in and out readers, awesome. If you have that, that would be great. It will be a very accurate way of tracking people around the facility. If you don't, then less known area is what this is going to work, and ACM Verify will work with that just fine, okay? I think, like, I want to put a number, but the majority of our customers, they don't necessarily use in and out readers because depending on, it could be a fire code problem to limited people exfil or exit out of the facility, locking doors, right? So you always want free egress. So that's why readers or in readers is usually the way this goes, okay? All right, before we move to the demo, I'm gonna go ahead and launch another quick poll here, very easy one, just yes or no. Once again, if you in maximize screen, if you come off the maximize, you should be able to see the poll. We appreciate your participation and answering those polls. So that's basically how ACM works, ACM Verify works behind the scenes. We're just moving people from one area to another, okay? Also, I have this question, could I use ACM Verify to trigger a lockdown? Yes, I could. I could actually create a special PIN number, one that is assigned maybe just to a couple of people, or whatever way you want to handle that. And when that PIN number is entered and confirmed, we can create some global actions and global linkages behind the scenes in ACM that says, hey, when you see this PIN code in this virtual station, on this ACM Verify virtual station, go ahead and initiate a lockdown. So that is also possible, okay? All right, thanks so much for answering this poll, closing it. And I'm gonna go ahead and move to the next slide. So let's go ahead and do a live demo here. Come off of the slides and let's put ACM in this screen. Better, there you go. So here's my ACM. So I'm gonna take you a little bit through the process. How do I configure ACM Verify and operate it? So first thing I wanna do, I want to go over here to my appliance under About screen, make sure that I actually have licenses for it. So right there, I have 11 licenses. So the system comes with one, and in my system here, we kind of had the odd number there, we had another 10, but again, the bundle, so I had 2 bundles of 5, so you can enter, and here they are, that's the license, my license right there. So you can enter in bundles of 5 or bundles of 16, and you see the total number of licenses. So this means I could create 11 virtual stations in ACM Verify, okay? So how do I do that? So first thing I need to do is create areas if I don't already have it in my system. So my system already has areas, so I'm not gonna go there and create, but it's pretty simple. You're gonna go here, add area, enable the area, give it a name, and save it. That is maximum occupancy. I'm not gonna touch into that. This will probably be a subject for another lunch and learn session. But basically, you create the area, enable that area, and hit save. That's simple. And then you can go into the doors. If you're assigning doors, for example, I'm going to go ahead and grab one of the doors here, and I can go into my operations, and I can assign this door into an area. If I had an in and out reader, I would put that in here, right? But so I can go and assign, this my areas. I can go ahead and assign that in there, okay? All right, so I can go ahead and do that. So I got my area create. Another thing I wanna make sure in ACM, here in appliance, under access, I wanna make sure that my Avigilon is checked in, okay? Not debug, just here, checked in. So this allows me to create a virtual station, which is the next step. So I'm gonna go here and create doors, and I can go in and add a door. In this case, I'm going to create a virtual station. So I'm going to skip my templates. I don't want to use a template. I can go right over here and create an Avigilon, and this will create that, okay? I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to call this Master Area South, and I'm going to assign this into an area. So now I'm going to link this to an area in my system. So here it is. I already had that in there. So I'm going to go ahead and link on that. Managed or unmanaged. What is that? Managed means when I present my PIN code in the system, it will ask me for confirmation. So I'll enter the PIN code and hit submit. It will pop the image of the person. So it will go in ACM, gather the person's image, name, and bring it into the application so I can actually see who that person is and confirm it, okay? Then the area right there, login, so I can either use login or paired. So I'll show you paired in a second. So paired, so login first, so I can log in. So every time I want to use ACM Verify this way, all I have to do is just log into the application and go to that virtual station in my smartphone, tablet, or even in the computer, okay? I'll show you in the computer in a second, and then we'll show in the smart device. All right, so this is created, it's that simple. I can use location name if I want to, just for reference purposes, and then just hit save, and I got my virtual keypad created, okay? So again, log in anyone with a valid access to the software will be able to see that virtual station. The other option is paired. Paired means I'm going to pair this station or assign this station to someone in their smart device. And for that, I'll have to go, so I'm gonna go ahead and save this for now, right there. So I'll have to go here into pair devices, okay? I already have my phone paired. The idea is I'll click in this pair and say, let's use Master South, and I'm gonna go ahead and generate a PIN number, okay? This PIN number will be active for 10 minutes and then it will expire. So now I can go in my smartphone, log it into the phone, go into that platform. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that here. Guys, give me a second. I can launch my phone and then it will be able to see that. All right, let's do that. So I'm just launching. You'll see my phone screen here in just a second. Sometimes the firewall gets in the way. Okay, once again. All right, I'll get to this in a second. So the idea here is that you can link your phone to this mustering station, or to this, or pair this to a virtual station. And then once you do that, you'll be the only person be able to see that virtual station in ACM. Okay. So to access the virtual station, pretty simple. You just go to, there's a couple of ways. You can either type the IP address of the ACM station, and so I'm going to go ahead and do this in here. So I'll just copy this address here real quick. One option is this. I can go into a browser, put that in there, enter doors/virtual, and this way I can access my virtual stations. Okay. Another way of doing that is, go ahead and just close this here real quick, so I can show you this actually in my phone. But virtual station works the same way. So this is what you see in your phone. I'm trying to get my phone up in here, and it works every time. But of course, today doesn't want to cooperate. All right. So okay. So here's the virtual station. So all I have to do is select that to register first. So let's go ahead and take a look in register. How do I register a virtual station? So I can go over here and pair the device. Okay. So when I click in pair device, it's going to ask me to enter the name of that device, the way I want to pair it, and then that code, the code that you just saw me entering in the other screen here. Okay. And so you enter the code. As soon as you do that, it's going to tell you that this system is paired. And then once you paired, only that station will be able to see, or that phone will be able to see that mustering station, or their ACM verify station. Okay. So let's go ahead and show you here how that works. So I'm going to go ahead and select a virtual station. So those are all set to be in login mode. If I set the stations to be in paired mode, they will disappear from here and will be assigned to that particular area. So this is how you would do. You will go here and you can enter a PIN number and just go from there. Okay. I'm going to show you the other stations that I have. So here's, for example, my factory area. I have 2 people in there right now. So if I click on it, you can see who they are and what time they got in that area. And as they move around, this will change. But nice about this is that it even shows the picture of the person. So I'm talking here and I'm trying to get my phone that has worked in every other lunch and learn, but today the site doesn't want to do. I'm having some issues with my computer. So I'm going to go ahead and use this as the example here. All right, so let's go ahead and show you a scenario of how this would actually work. So I'm going to go here to Maps, and I'm going to show you this ACM here. Okay, so that's the same same map you saw before in my presentation. So here is the company, the factory in this case. I have people in different areas here. There's 2 in the factory area. There's 4 in the office. So I can actually click on it and see who they are and what time they got in there. Okay. So allow me to track real time. So these numbers will change as people move around. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put this browser right here, and I'm going to pick this browser and put it right there. Okay. So you can see this. So this is my dashboard for emergency. I might have a procedure to launch an evacuation, right? So when you press that button, it will execute some things, or the fire alarm went off and now you got sirens and now you have people moving out, right? So they're gonna go out of the building and go into this gathering area in the mustering area. I hope this number always stays like this. You never have to use this, right? So that means there's no issues. But if there is one, when you get in this area, that fire warden that you saw in the picture there, right, or someone is going to be there with their phone, and now they can go ahead and log into that station, point that phone to you. So in the phone, the difference is you will see a keypad in here. In the computer, I don't need it, right? I can use the keypad on my computer. And I can go in here now and go and type the PIN code, right? So the first person comes in, the fire warden points the phone to that person. The person enters the PIN code, hit submit, and now I can turn the phone back to me and says, yeah, that's you, Donald Duck. Great. I'm going to go ahead and confirm that you're in this area. Now watch. He just went from the office into the mustering area. Is in that area now. And here comes the next person. And the next person types his PIN code. Once again, I looked at it. Yeah, that's you, Mike. Great. I'll go ahead and confirm. And now Mike was in the factory, and now he is in this area, right? So I can click in here and see who joined this area and what time they did, right? Here's the nice thing about that. If I'm a fire marshal, I can go and pick another area and see that, great, there is no one in there. Right there. There's no one in that area. So I'm okay there. I can move on to the next area and look for people there. Okay, back to the mustering. More people are coming in. Enter the information, and here comes Daisy. And now she's in that area, and you just keep doing that. Obviously, you would have multiple areas here, multiple mustering areas around the building. As people start to evacuate those areas, right, and they start entering their PIN numbers in those mustering stations, you will see those numbers changing and moving people to that area. So in essence, that's how ACM Verify works for mustering. For other applications, what I'm doing is tracking people. So I can go in ACM and validate that these people are now in this area and what time they logged in. So if I pull my reports, I'll be able to see what time they got into this area. So once again, for meeting application, right? Meetings across the street, I can go ahead and show how they show who participated in the meeting and what time they got in there. Okay. As they come back to the building, or in this case here, as people, the fire threat is avoided, or the emergency is avoided, people will go back into their areas. As they come back to the building and start badging in their areas, then once again they'll be moved out of mustering to the areas they are now working on it. Okay. If you notice, let's see, I don't have office here. So I can start moving people back again to those areas as they present their credentials into those doors. I'm gonna go ahead and launch the last poll in here, and then we open up for questions. Man, you guys been busy.
Hey, and while you guys are thinking about that, I did want to throw in there, one of the things that we've actually seen ACM Verify used for is for a check-in station. Not a true full-fledged visitor management solution, but just a check-in area. You can have assign a PIN code to a visitor as they come into the facility. You can have an iPad sitting there at the desk, and as they walk up to the iPad, say, hey, Mr. Customer, this is your PIN, enter in that PIN number, and now we verified them into your facility and we've tracked them into that area. So there's, I know that was part of the questions here, part of the poll, but just kind of think about that as you guys are answering questions.
Good one. Yeah, good one. Yeah, there is so many different applications. So here's another. So someone is asking, is this using an app? It's actually I can use the browser in my phone. I was trying to present the browser, the browser in my phone on the screen, and I've done this many times before, but today, for some reason, the application that I use for that is not cooperating, and there's something in here that's just not. I'm having issues. I've been having issues with this computer, and this is probably related to it. Okay, so what else there? So I saw another interesting question here. Can identity be removed from an area based on a schedule or manually removed from an area? Yes, you can manually remove from an area, not on a schedule. I can actually go in here. Let's go ahead and pick a person. So I'm just gonna go in.
Hey, Francisco, end the poll.
Yeah, good call. All right, poll is closed. All right, so I can go here in the area, in identities, pick a person, go to their credential, and I can actually move them right here. So you see the Mickey is here in mustering, right? Can go here to the mustering station, pull up mustering. That's Mickey right there. I can go ahead and put him back. Let's say I want to put him to the office now and just hit save. Okay. If I refresh this, Mickey is gone. Okay. And now if I go back to the office here, here's the office, click on that. That's Mickey right there. And he just got in. Okay. Any other questions in there? Let's see here.
Maybe, and maybe you can expand on this one. I did answer yes, but area control and this identities per area does show up as a part of our REST API, correct?
You can move people to an area on the REST API. I want to say yes, but I'd like to confirm it. I think it does because it's part of the command itself. Yeah, it is, because when you move in a person, you assign that person to, let's say, to a door, to a reader, right? Mm-hmm. And as soon as you move that person and you say this person is going to go to this or is going to be assigned to this door, then yes, it will move that person in there like if it was a badge entry. So yeah, you would do it.
Yeah, Jeff's got a question about can Verify be combined with a reader? Basically, can we use Verify for access to an area, I would assume?
You mean with a reader outside?
I think it's probably more, and maybe Jeff, if you want to expand on that, but I believe it's more, can I use Verify as a reader? So can I combine it with door hardware?
No. Not at this point, no. So we were talking about doing a few other things with this, adding a barcode, a QR code capability. So instead of you entering a PIN code, you would have a QR code in your badge, and it would just point to that, and using ACM Verify on the phone and take advantage of the camera. So we haven't got to that yet. We're still using pin because it seems that for what people using out there today seems to be working pretty good. So no, you cannot combine with another reader, right? So the idea behind this is that I don't have to trench wires all the way out there in this mustering for this application, right? I don't have to trench wire and put a reader sitting out there that I hope I will never have to use, right? So ACM Verify will allow you to just access this using
Doesn't have to be perfect.
we have someone with a mic open.
And for the telephone entry one, it's probably gonna be double the height. Yeah.
Nope.
Oh.
I got someone with a mic open. Thank you. So yeah, so that's how this application is going to be used, right? So one of the applications is that I can use ACM Verify anywhere I want just by opening that application in my computer. Here's another way that you can find that application. I don't think I showed that. So when I go here to Doors, after I create my my ACM station, so here's my mustering, okay? You will see the link is right over here. So if I click on that link, it will take me to that station, okay? And I can click in that. So you see me doing this in my computer. It's exactly the same way on my smartphone, no difference, right? So just the real estate size of the screen is different. Functionality-wise, is exactly the same. I can pick the virtual stations I want. I can pair with a different device, log off, have more information about the system of ACM, okay? But mainly, you're going to select whatever station you want to select. Names are whatever you define. Areas connected to it is whatever you define as well, okay? All right, any other questions here? Oh, someone is asking location based on GPS. Yes, we actually thought about that. Hopefully in the next version of an upgrade version of ACM Verify, we'll be able to add that. It's actually a very good point. We thought about that as well, because that then opened up for a bunch of different applications. Not there today. So today is basically a station that you or that particular person will carry with them, and they can be utilized for all these different applications I described. Okay, but there's no geo location enabled on this yet. Okay. All right. I think I'm done with the polls as well. I'm gonna go ahead and open up any other questions. Let's see if there's any other questions coming in. In the meantime, as we wait for those questions, Rob, if you're on the line, tell us what is in the next session. What are you going to do?
Sure. So on Wednesday at noon Central Time, we're going to talk about redundancy and failover. So be sure to join us, and I'm going to go into depth on those topics, and should be a good session.
That's a very nice one, yeah. Jared, what do you have for us on Friday?
Friday, we're going to be talking all about Active Directory. So we're going to be talking about remote authentication to Active Directory, and then also covering the Active Directory collaboration with ACM.
Awesome. All right, so folks, again, Monday, noon Eastern, Wednesday, noon Central Time, and Friday, noon Pacific Time, okay? Hope to see you all on Wednesday. Thanks so much for coming here, for the questions, and for the polls. Hope to see you on Wednesday. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Francisco.
Thank you.